Companies that have an omni-channel retailing strategy, that is, selling their products both in stores and through the internet, have several advantages over companies that only sell through one channel. Multiple channels can complement each other in ways that make the buyer experience smoother and more enjoyable for the consumer. This has been the case for the bookstore chain Barnes & Noble.
With our online store, there's a breadth of selection that we wouldn't see or even want in some of our brick and mortar stores. You can kind of find anything, even if it's one book will sell to one person in an entire year. Whereas in a store, if we want a best-in-class assortment and we have limited space, we're really kind of focusing on what that community wants. So it allows us to fill in the gaps with each other and kind of complement each other on, how the customer experiences books as a whole.
Its omni-channel retailing strategy first allows Barnes & Noble to offer customers a deeper and broader selection of products. You can find virtually any book on their website by using the search bar or navigating through the many category tabs.
When people go online, they're usually looking for something very specific. Specifically searching a title if they need it for a project, or they heard a recommendation, or they saw it somewhere. And then with stores, a lot of times people are coming in, yes, they may have something specific in mind, but that's when then they can find something they didn't know they wanted. There's more of an impulse purchase. So I think there's different experiences to both. And so the fact that you can have both as a retailer, I think is really critical in this day and age because customers expect that of you.
Having an omni-channel retailing strategy also makes it easier for Barnes & Noble to personalize their selection to the customer. The many readers who find out about books through the social media platform TikTok can go into a Barnes & Noble store and find a selection called Book Talk. They'll also find a Book Talk page on Barnes & Noble's website, which contains an even greater selection of TikTok favorites.
Honestly, social media has been a huge boon to publishing and book retailers in general. I think Book Talk, Instagram, YouTube, specifically Book Talk over the last 3 years has really created a book community. And all of these different communities kind of create reading groups and recommendations. And what we've really seen over the last few years is that it's driven people to stores to build out a list in a bigger way because they want to be the first to recommend something. So I think it's been an exciting way to see how different platforms can influence the overall shopping experience.
Another way having multiple retail channels helps Barnes & Noble is by expanding the company's market presence.
The internet is a beautiful, scary, wonderful place. And I think people go there not only to purchase things, but also to find content. And whether that content is, really through a sales channel or it's something that's slightly kind of bookends the book. So if we have a podcast and it's about talking to the author specifically or working with an editor and you kind of hear a behind the scenes process, it's an expansion of that book reading experience.
The physical stores act as a complement to these digital offerings by exposing browsing customers to new titles they might not encounter on the internet.
Stores are really about the experience and a place of discovery. It's about the impulse, it's about the conversation, it's about the community, and you can't have a cookie cutter store over 600 times and expect it to be special in each area. So I think we really tried to tailor and are still working on tailoring what is going to work in each area and then giving booksellers the tools they need to develop that.
As we've seen, omni-channel retailing presents plenty of opportunities, but it's not without its challenges, particularly when it comes to distribution.
The elephant in the room is that hardly anyone can compete with the behemoth that is Amazon. I stopped caring what Amazon did years ago because as soon as we started trying to track that and compete with that type of supply chain, it's a losing game. What we can do differently is, besides providing the exclusive content, whether it be in the books themselves or online or in store, is also provide the best curation and assortment and recommendations in the country. And that's really what we're leaning into. There's just a lot of opportunities, I think, to look at our overall infrastructure, but not to the point that we can pay through the nose to try and compete with Amazon 3-hour shipping.
It's not likely that Barnes & Noble will ever go back to doing single-channel retailing. Customers now expect to be able to interact with and buy from the store seamlessly across multiple channels.
Now that everyone has kind of shifted into this omni-channel approach, it's much more now for us about how it's a holistic, fully baked, fantastic reading experience. For us, the more we lean in on that, the better we'll be, and the more I think people will hopefully want to spend time, whether that's in store or browsing online.